Welcome to Inside Voices. Today we're going to talk about the Jellycat phenomenon, and we can't talk about Jellycats without talking about Labubus. So I'm Tash Whitbourne, I'm head of social here at RBH.
And I'm Beck Williams, I'm the PR partner.
So for anyone that doesn't know, Jellycat is a London brand. They are a premium soft toy brand. They were started by two brothers called the Gattaca brothers back in 1999. Labubu, on the other hand, is a sort of ugly, cute, demonic plush toy. It's not the same kind of premium original starting price that Jellycat is, but as we know, it has been put online and those prices are getting hiked up, and it has become quite a premium item through the resale market. It was founded in 2015 by a Hong Kong-born artist called Casing Lung. But now in 2025, obviously, it's a phenomenon. So we looked at some of the research around sales, and in 2024, Jellycat made up something like 25% of all plush toys sold. It's massive. And in 2025, so just the first half of 2025, Popmart, who is the company that own Labubu, they reported a 350% surge in profits just in the first half of the year.
That's incredible.
Why are these products causing such a sensation now in 2025?
There's so many different elements and factors in play, isn't there? I mean, everything from their strategy of limited drops to some fantastic online PR and press coverage, to utilising social channels really, really well, to celebrity influencers and tapping into that area, and also kind of the state of the world as it is. I mean, there's so many different variables, and I think it's just both of them just hit the market at the right time, and obviously those figures speak for themselves, don't they?
There's a lot going on. A lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
So, Becs, you've bought Jellycats for your son. You've had experience with the product, the brand, the demand for it. Is he aware of new products, new product drops, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it's scary how aware he is. I mean, I'll say I have asked if I can talk about his love of Jellycats, and he's 10. And I mean, he could lose a good hour or two online on the Jellycat website, searching for kind of new items. I mean, even yesterday alone, I think I was served an ad for the Christmas drop, and even I got sucked into the cute little marshmallows that they were advertising. So he definitely is aware, and he will look. And I think with him and children like him is that they love the character association and the names as well. So he'll kind of learn the names of the teddies and kind of like look at those. So yeah, he's definitely aware.
Yeah, you say like you're aware of them as well. I think I don't know when they released it, but they released something called the Amusables range,
which is
those marshmallows. Yeah, the camembert. I mean, why is there a camembert?
Is that my Christmas present to you? Is that what I need to do?
Yeah, I mean, if I was going to get one, it probably would be a soft camembert that smells me. I mean, yeah, I think when it first started, it was very much like I would buy them for friends, babies, and the bunny and stuff like that. But now it's very much like they have really lent into anthropomorphism and smiley faces, characters, world building, etc.
I think kind of the delivery of them as well. They arrive in a lovely branded turquoise bag that you can unwrap. It's really exciting. It feels like you're unwrapping like a bundle of joy. It brings that joyful, happy factor to the purchase as well. I suppose it creates such a dopamine hit for them. I mean, he can be transfixed watching people opening things. Sometimes he's even watched them be unboxed and then can watch them again. I mean, this was probably a couple of years ago now, but Labubu is doing that really, really well as well. Because obviously you buy, but you don't necessarily know which one you're going to get. And that excitement and that kind of rush and excitement and dopamine hit of which one is it going to be creates such a high for kids and adults alike that,
100%. Like, it's definitely designed for that social media unboxing content. I'm sure Labubu knew exactly what they were doing when they decided to make it mystery boxes. The same as like it is that gambling mentality. I mean, it's really disturbing to put that in the same sentence as like children's toys. I guess it feels like they want to drive that I need them all mentality. If you happen to buy extra ones that you don't need along the way, well, that's only good for them. Have you noticed, are they like trading them in the playground, or are they too scarce? Like you wouldn't have multiple?
At the moment, from what I can tell, they're quite scarce, and obviously there's quite a lot of fakes and rip-offs, which I'm sure we'll get onto shortly. So we've not seen that yet, but I can imagine that we're going to get kind of to that stage, I would have thought.
Yeah. That's what it was like for us, wasn't it? Back in the day.
Back in the day.
Pogs.
Loved Pogs. I mean, Jellycat have had some hugely successful and viral experiential events globally that have racked up millions of views on social platforms, TikTok in particular. I mean, everything from the patisserie in France to the viral fish and chip moment running here, which we didn't get to go to, but I did want a little pee, I'm not going to lie. They are very, very cute. But what amazing kind of unique events, aren't they?
Yeah, they are so cleverly like designed with social media in mind. I think they are like really memorable because they're so beautiful. Like you say, they're tailored to the location. So yeah, in Paris they had a patisserie, in New York they did a New York diner, and I think, you know, there are some really dedicated hardcore fans of the brand, and they want to go to those events and share them on social so that they can show off that they were there. Parents want to take photos of their kids there. They want to go to these cute moments and have them and share them on social. So they are just such a great way of encouraging organic shares.
Absolutely. And I think they've tapped into a real kind of unique event as well, which is something from a PR and events perspective that we look at, is kind of what's going to excite and encourage people to attend, what's press-worthy, what stands out, what hasn't been done before. And I think they just captured that beautifully. And you're right, kind of, you know, as a parent myself, it's about making memories. It's about kind of spending a day doing it, even if it's in essence you're just coming back with something that you could buy online. It's about that whole kind of experience and the package that they're selling.
Yeah, and I think they deliberately have stuff there, like on packaging wise, and that memory, and, you know, like what you were saying earlier about it coming in that blue box and everything. Like you get stuff at those events that you wouldn't get if you just go into the shop and pick up a Jellycat, or even if you order online. I think like they're designed to make you want to queue to get in. Like it is a really special, it's like Disneyland for grown-ups, but also for the kids.
Yeah, and I think you're right, it's not just for the families and kids. I've seen kind of groups of young women going together and queuing up and taking pictures and images of themselves doing it. So it does kind of have that sort of broader appeal as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds, I forget when we're talking about it that we're talking about a stuffed plush toy that's like, it was designed originally for, like, you know, like babies' cribs and stuff, and now we're talking about like grown-ups wanting to queue around the corner to get there, the same as they have with Labubus, who haven't done these kind of events yet because they haven't needed to. They instead have really tapped into celebrity hype.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm guilty of watching several TikToks of celebs opening their Labubu boxes and I seem to get sucked in. And before you know it, I've been watching for a solid 10-20 minutes of these videos.
Who are you watching?
I mean, you know, it's Nicola Peltz, Brooklyn Beckham's wife.
She
has
as well.
a few. Yeah. I mean, there's been
her.
A few. I mean, I think David Beckham's been there, has he? I mean, and anything David Beckham's doing, I mean, I'm there for that. So,
and it's not just David Beckham, it's Rihanna.
Well, if it's good enough for her, it's good enough for me.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
Rihanna,
there.
Lisa from Blackpink, who is like one of the biggest celebs in the world right now because of the White Lotus thing as well. So she's got that cross-generational appeal.
I have been trying to learn the latest jump dance courtesy of TikTok over the last couple of weeks.
Okay, that's another episode. Yeah, insert clip here. And I think once people like Rihanna, Dua Lipa get involved, there's this fashion element that comes with it. And there's a fashion element aimed at an older audience, we've seen, for example, bag charms. Like they've been massive for the last few years. All the major luxury brands have been selling bag charms, and I think Gen Z and millennials have been, everyone's got these charms on their bags. Kids generally, that's not going to be affordable or reachable for them, but these Labubus are. And I think now TikTok has made fashion more, it's your aesthetic. I can't believe kids are thinking about this, but they want Labubus that they can wear on their bags. So there's a fashion element, but then also they can go online and talk about and say, I've got this. It's really fascinating. Is there that element of fashion with your experience of your son? Is he too young, or is it more about just like the hype of it?
I mean, that's not him. He's not really into that. So I thought we'd avoid the whole thing, to be perfectly honest. I was like, yes, one thing that we don't have to kind of get involved with. But I think because there was so much chatter on the school playground, he almost wanted one and asked for one before he even realised what it was, which is really, really interesting. And I think it's just so he can discuss it with, and have that latest thing. So yeah, I don't think it's that he's actually bothered about having, I shouldn't say that, should I? I can say that. It's not that he's bothered or really excited about having that particular thing because he wants that in his bedroom or wants that in his study, on his desk. It's because other people, it's the cool thing to do. It's a fashionable thing to do.
Yeah, again, same as it was back in our day.
Yeah.
You don't know how you hear about it.
Yeah.
It's just suddenly overnight, I need this.
Yeah. I mean, he's not on any sort of social media. He probably overhears some things with me watching things and probably picks up on that. But it's definitely amazing how chatter kind of starts on the school playground, and before you know it, I'm being asked for one.
But for the kids, we think maybe there's more of a I need this. I don't necessarily know why.
Absolutely.
Whereas for the Gen Z contingent, it's possibly more of a fashion aesthetic thing. So, Becs, we know kids are driving that demand for both brands. But when we looked at who was actually driving the sales, and this leads back to that fashion thing again, it's the girlies. It's that young, the Gen Z, millennial fashion audience, really. We've got some stats. So when we looked into it, we found that apparently adult female customers made up about 2/3 of all those Jellycats sold in 2024. So bearing in mind they were the 20% of all plush toys sold, 2/3 of that was young women.
That's amazing, isn't it? Although not entirely surprising.
No, it's not entirely surprising. Although,
or is it?
But then with Labubu, we've looked at quite a few reports that have shown that Pop Mart, so it obviously had that huge spike in sales at the start of 2025. Pop Mart's primary target audience is young women, typically students or white-collar workers aged 16 to 35. And actually, it gets more targeted than that as well. There is a significant concentration in the 18 to 29 age range. And of those, it's young women that have an interest in fashion. So what we've seen on social in the last 2 or 3 years is girl math. Girl dinner. I'm just a girl. Hannah in our social team and I are really guilty of saying I'm just a girl a lot. I saw a good post on LinkedIn the other day begging young women to stop saying I'm just a girl because we're belittling ourselves. And I mean, I don't know why we're doing it. We just think it's funny and fun. But what's going on, Becs? What is going on with this rejection of adulthood? Why are so many young women buying Jellycats?
I think it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, isn't it? There's a lot going on. I mean, there's the cost of living, there's atrocities happening globally. We've come out of lockdown. It's just been a really kind of busy, challenging couple of years, and I think kind of young women are potentially tapping back into their childhood for comfort and childhood memories and looking for a bit of joy and happiness in their life, which as we've talked about, the high of unboxing a Labubu or ordering that cheeky cute Jellycat teddy, that delivers that, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there are real massive communities around this. I think the Reddit community is over 60,000 people in it. So there's a lot of like you say, dopamine to be had there by going on and unboxing or showing that you've got, you know, this latest launch, and it's, you know, how that particular toy fits into your world. So Becs, is it just the girlies? Give us some hope. There's got to be.
I don't know if it is just the girls. I mean, there is so much content out there and so many TikToks of people unboxing their Labubus. Lucky people who managed to get their hands on one. I think I even saw Michael Barrymore delivering a TikTok on it. And there was a piece, I think, in The Guardian earlier on the year, a 25-year-old man talking about kind of the joy Labubus bring.
There's not much fun in the world.
Not much fun in the
so
world.
They're like, it's nice to see their happy smiling faces.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I know you've said it already, but there's so much going on.
There is a lot going on.
What did lockdown do to us? I mean, literally, you can trace the beginning of this like surge in Jellycat sales to lockdown. It's like people were really at home, buying themselves a little bit of comfort. Like you say, they were turning to like the toys of their childhood for comfort. But it's not been smooth sailing for either brand, has it? You saw something about Labubus.
Yeah, that's right. I think I read a news report kind of warning people about fakes, not just because obviously being scammed or thinking that you're buying the real deal and actually not getting the real thing, but actually from a safety point of view, warning parts falling off and not to give them to young children.
I would say though that I don't think Lafufu has really necessarily damaged the Labubu brand, whereas what happened this summer with Jellycat, to me, from a social point of view, and the amount of negativity we've seen like on Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, I would say that this was a bigger damage to brand. And what happened was they released a letter to their suppliers, some of them that have been working with them for years. A lot of these suppliers seem to have been small independent shops. And the letter wasn't great. It went viral because there's a lady called Erica who owns a little shop in Edinburgh. It's called Pippin Gifts. It's gorgeous. Shout out Pippin Gifts. We'll show them, give them some publicity. But she did a post on Instagram and she like showed her response to this letter that she got from Jellycat. The letter told her that she unfortunately didn't qualify for official status this year, and that she could aim for it next year.
Oh,
yeah. It was really patronizing. She's worked with them for years. She's an independent store. When I first saw this post, I thought maybe her store's not going to be very nice, and they're trying to do some brand protection. But her store was gorgeous. I'm not sure yet why they've tried to reduce the amount of official stockists. I assume it's something to do with limited drops in limited stock because they're going to increase scarcity. I don't know. Anyway, the post went viral because she did her response to it. So she posted basically saying, you haven't qualified as a Pippin Gifts official supplier. It was really great. The internet loved it. She got loads of support. We saw, because there's such big communities around these Jellycat toys, we've seen people on all sorts of social channels saying that they're just not going to have anything to do with the brand anymore if they don't support independent shops. So, Becs, from a comms point of view, would Jellycat have been worried about this? Should they?
I mean, firstly, wow. I mean, the tone of voice isn't great in that at all. And for somebody that deals with kind of public relations and reputation, that does make me kind of feel a little bit uncomfortable at that. I mean, what people need to realise is comms nowadays, everything can be made public. And obviously this is turned out that it's generated a lot of support for the independent brand, which is great. Do I think it's damaged kind of the Jellycat brand? I think demand will and is still there. They need to try and remember and leverage the brand values that they've created for themselves.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. It's just so off brand.
Yeah.
They are this
warm and fuzzy.
They are warm and fuzzy,
yeah,
and that was not warm and fuzzy.
It was
patronising. It feels like an internal. I mean, I hope they don't speak to each other like that internally. Basically, Don't be pretending to be a warm, fuzzy brand on your social channels, in your marketing and everything, and then email your stockists or like with a really anonymous, cold tone of voice that doesn't match, because social exists, it will go viral, and you just look inauthentic to your fans now. Do we think JellyCat, what was that week like for them, do you think? Because we saw their response post. It was kind of, exactly what we would recommend probably that brands respond with. But do we think they would have been worried about this backlash?
I think they would have been monitoring the situation really closely, but ultimately they've got such a good PR machine behind them with all of those great experiential events that we talked about earlier on, that kind of positive events, social content that they push out there probably did drown out some of that noise potentially. Now, we have seen this collectible hype before, haven't we? And this is where we get to reminisce and kind of talk about all the good stuff that we did when we were younger.
Yeah, there's really not much or anything new going on here except like the social media element and that unboxing, which wasn't there when we were young, and buying into all the Tamagotchis and the Furbies.
Tamagotchi. Interestingly, I bought a Tamagotchi only literally a year or two ago for my godson. So they've made a bit of a comeback. I was really tempted to buy one for myself as well, just so I could remember kind of, although I think they were launched, 96, 97-ish?
Yeah, it's really fascinating. Like what we were saying earlier about how this correlates to lockdown and the impact that it seems to have had on us. When we looked at all those big Y2K trends, so yeah, we'll read them out in a minute, but all the big ones that you think of first, it's really interesting how they correlate with the coming of the new millennium. So all that Y2K fear, the anxiety that was going on in the years sort of 99. Well, you talk us through them, Becs. We had a look, didn't we? What's the timeline?
Well, I think Tamagotchis were about 97, which I was a little bit shocked about because I do remember having one, and I think I might have been a bit too old to have
they were cool
one in 97.
No.
But I remember killing mine within like the first day of having it. And I have, like I said, I've bought my godson one, I've bought my son one. And I did have a little sneaky play. And it's amazing how you remember to feed it on time, give it its injection. But again, probably lasted a week or two. But yeah, I think that was 97. I think kind of I just missed out on this, but Furbies, I think were 98. Those that little furry things with the heads that you could scratch, and I don't know what you did
Furby.
with them.
I made my mum take mine to work.
Oh,
so that was
delighted.
1988. So I would have been 10, and I was a bit, because I didn't get a Tamagotchi. My parents tried; they took me everywhere. We couldn't find one. So when Furby hit, I think there was some residual guilt, and it went to work.
Oh, and you got one.
Yeah.
Oh, and what did your mum do with it at work?
Looked after it, treated it really well.
And is it similar to a Tamagotchi?
Like the next generation, so like a furry Tamagotchi.
And can you get them
still
now?
Have to feed. I don't know if you can still get them now. Cats. Most millennials have moved on to.
That's the latest thing.
Children.
Isn't it?
Then
97 to 99 with the Beanie Babies. I think
this was arguably the biggest one. Like when we've been talking to the office about collectibles, everyone says Beanie Babies.
And they're still doing the rounds, aren't they?
I think so. There's a Schitt's Creek reference to them that we were talking about the other day.
And did they do did they used to put them in Happy Meals at McDonald's as well?
Yeah,
now,
teeny weeny. Hang on, we've got this somewhere.
Oh, sorry.
Teeny babies.
Teeny babies. Now, I do think kind of I used to buy the McDonald's for that. I was probably, again, too old. So my way of buying them was to get the McDonald's as well. So I do remember those. They're pretty cool.
Yeah.
No.
Were they?
No.
Is any of this cool?
Oh.
Well, I know that Furbies were cool, so yeah. Oh, and then Pokemania.
Now, I've got a bit I can speak on with a bit of authority on this, I don't even want to think about how much money we've spent on Pokemon for my son now to not be that bothered about it. But I've spent probably the last 2 years having to learn all of the different names, powers, watch it, play it, and spend every time we go into a corner shop or into our local kind of our local post office is to have him nagging at me to buy a packet, only to discover a year into collecting them that we'd got so many that we were just getting repeats. And I mean, he did take it up a level, and that we were then buying bespoke cards. So that has cost me a small fortune. I can't actually send him to university anymore because we spent it all on Pokemon cards.
I can't believe that Pokemania is still, I mean, it's still current. It's 2025. 1998 to 1999 was when that really like kicked off. So 1998 to 1999, the Pokemon video game was released. Then they brought out the cards, and then they brought out the series. So that was really like the cusp of getting into like, oh my God, we're all gonna, you know, all the computers are gonna.
Oh, remember the feel well.
And then I just think it's incredible that those big trends that were like took over the playground were all in the 4 years leading up to Y2K.
But what is interesting is the longevity of Pokemon in particular. I wonder if we're going to see the same with Labubu.
I don't think we are. I'm saying it now. I'm putting it on record. No. Jellycat, yes.
Yeah.
Labubu, no.
I mean, at the height of their popularity, Beanie Babies was such a thing that, didn't we read a news report that a couple in America divorced, and then they had to, the judge made them divvy up the Beanie Babies.
So, Becs, what do we think it'll be next?
Well, I have noticed a few Smiskies appearing on people's desks around the office.
Yeah, we haven't named and shamed anyone in the office so far for any of these collectibles, but they are present.
But I don't have one, and I'm feeling a little bit left out. So something's working, isn't it? So I think they could be one to watch out for.
I'm hearing a lot of Smisky chat as well. Yeah, they're a bit cooler, I think, than...
They're like little aliens.
Little guys, little green guys.
Little green guys. Yeah.
So Becs, what would you tell brands who want to make a hype around their product?
Create unique and memorable events.
Think about organic social, create shareable moments.
Leverage the power of celebrity and influencers. David Beckham's having one, I'm having one.
Same. Rihanna. Limit your stock. Product drops. Get them out on social.
Thanks for watching, and if you liked what you saw, please don't forget to subscribe.
And catch us on Spotify too.